Third co-host is not cooperating.
Third co-host is not cooperating. He's trying to do like acrobatics in my lap right now, but that's okay. I'm Ash.
I'm Al.
We are Lovey Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So,
updates?
a funny thing happened since our last episode. Or our performance one, anyway.
Yes.
You know how we talked about my love-hate relationship with idols?
Uh-huh.
Guess what I started watching?
Oh, no.
Oh, but no, it's better. So yes, I did start watching an idol anime. However, it is an idol anime about zombies.
What?
Yes. Yes,
so
it's
confused.
called Zombieland Saga. And they're zombies that formed an idol group.
What is this?
Yeah, it's hysterical.
I'm so confused.
I can only assume that some of it has some, like, throwback jokes to your regular idol.
Well,
anime.
I mean, it's got zombies in it. I feel like that's required.
But, yeah, all the girls in... They don't explain why this guy makes a idol group out of zombies to save the city known as Saga.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna be a necromancer and you want to make
it just happens. There's no explanation for why the zombies are zombies. They're just none. Zero explanation. They're just zombies from different time periods becoming a girls' idol group.
It reminds me of that necromancer meme that says, make new friends.
But it is absolutely hysterical because there's like one of the zombies hasn't fully woken up, so she still acts like the stereotypical zombie. And they're always trying to like hold her back.
Oh no.
And they do like your stereotypical like cute idol dance song things, and
but they're zombies.
But they're zombies. But they're like make-upped up so they don't look like zombies.
Huh.
I have no idea what the purpose of this anime is, but it's one of those where like you start it and you can't look away.
Oh no.
Because it's actually kind of cute.
It's a cute train wreck or what?
Well, it's actually, you would expect it to be a train wreck, and it's actually not.
Okay. Well, you just said you can't look away.
It's actually halfway decent. Because
Okay.
they do start going into like the backstories of the girls.
Oh.
It's actually kind of adorable. I'm kind of understanding the appeal a little bit of the idol animes, because it is the cute, like, we're all together in this, and we're gonna do the thing. I still don't want to, like, put on a frilly dress and dance around, but, like...
Oh, third co-host thinks that you should.
Well, of course he does. He'd probably think that was hysterical. He loves when we bounce around and start singing songs.
I know, right?
That's, like, his favorite part of our brainstorming sessions, is if we start bouncing around and singing songs.
I mean, that's just daily life. Let's
That
be
is
honest
daily
here.
life. That's true. But no, it's actually kind of cute. So
Okay, then.
it requires very little brain power to watch, which is kind of nice.
I mean, that's always good. I spent the weekend watching WCS preliminaries.
That's right.
By the time this comes out, the World Cosplay Summit video finals are going to be next weekend.
That's right.
Be sure to tune in on August 7th and 8th to the World Cosplay Summit so you can cheer on Team USA, Stellar Rose, which is Barracuda and Chibi Tifa cosplay.
They did one of our absolute favorites, which is Utena.
Utena! I just want all of Barracuda's applique that's on her
It's
coat.
very beautiful.
Or obviously, if you are not from the US, you do not have to cheer for the US team, and you can choose your own team or the team of your choice.
That's true.
So,
But they did do WCS through videos this year. So it is a video contest for 2021. So it's very different from the
their
norm.
co-host is very upset about this.
Oh no, why?
I don't know. You just said
It's
that, and he was
terrible.
upset.
It's terrible. But yes, WCS is a video contest for 2021. So the finals will be the collected presentations of all the selected countries and their videos. In other news, we are starting to look at conventions for 2022.
So if you have any suggestions, be sure to DM us.
We do still really want to know who's listening to us in Australia.
Yes.
Who is it?
Who are you?
Also, how did Canada? So we started looking into where in Canada, and it's actually British Columbia that's listening to the podcast more frequently, not Toronto.
Yep.
But we're like, Canada, how did you find us? So please let us know, because we are totally down, as we've said before, to trying to come to Canada in the future. I guess we need to take a trip to Vancouver. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds good.
It could be a thing. But let us know where you'd like to see us. We're not quite sure what we're going to be doing in 2022 because there are a lot of holdovers from 2021 and 2020. I don't think we're going to be doing a ton of judging, however. Doesn't look like it.
You mean we're not going to be stuck in a room for hours on end?
We haven't had to do that for a while now because we are able to do such a variety of different things. We haven't been stuck in the judging room for hours on ever.
There are some things that I miss about it because
I know.
I like to see all the pretty costumes up close.
It is true.
And gush over them.
However, we have spent multiple years being stuck in a judging room for over 30 plus contests.
Yes. I lost count after 30. Like, we made it to 30 and I was like, woo, we made it to 30. And then I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, we lost count after 30. But that does mean that we've learned a lot of interesting ins and outs since then. So today's episode, we thought we would share with all of you some of the things that you may not think about in terms of judging, both as a judge, but also as a competitor. And some of the, interesting or different questions we've gotten over time. So these are things that typically are not talked about when people do a judging panel or record an episode in relationship to judging. So new material.
So, and I think this particular topic we're going to get into first is one of the bigger misconceptions that I had when we first started judging. We'll talk about it. We did it once and then never again.
Oh, it was
and
awful.
That's why are you not wearing a fancy costume to judge? How will we know that you're qualified?
We hear this a lot from usually people who aren't involved in the contest. So it's typically the audience. But there are so many reasons not to wear a massive fancy costume. We have done it twice, I believe. Because we also judged in Princess Lady and Helios once.
Oh, that was the one that I was thinking of, and it was awful, and I hated it.
Oh, and we had a situation where we talked a contest coordinator out of making us judge in costumes.
Yes. I'm cool with going in something casual, but I'm also cool with showing up with, leggings and a t-shirt.
Yes, we did have our first judging appointment. We actually had to try to explain to the contest why it would be really distracting because we were supposed to judge the novice entries, and the feedback that we'd gotten previously was that, and for us as competitors, it's really intimidating to be judged by someone in a big fancy costume. And it's really distracting.
For both of you. It's distracting for the competitors because they're just looking at all of you, and it's really distracting for the person wearing it because, let's be honest, big fancy costumes are typically fussy.
And then when we had done this for a contest that was smaller, probably a year or so later, the feedback we got from the entries was being judged by both of you in those big costumes was extremely intimidating. Because you're looking at what your judges are wearing and going, oh no, their stuff is so fancy. My stuff doesn't match up. I'm not going to win anything. Why am I here? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
It's also had the opposite effect in a couple situations where judges were in fancy costumes while we were being judged and we were looking at their craftsmanship going, they're supposed to be judging us? While their costume's falling apart.
Eh?
Eh? I mean, ideally, as a judge, you're supposed to be getting up and looking at the competitors' costumes and giving the competitors your time and attention, and you're not going to be able to do that if you're in a big fancy costume yourself.
Yeah, like I think I wore Babs one time, and that was like leggings and a hoodie with a wig. We did Miraculous, but we did their school outfits, so it was literally like t-shirt and pants and wig. So like there was no fuss because it was regular clothes. I know we've been asked to like wear like the superhero stuff before, and I'm like, I can't touch fabric if I'm wearing gloves. That's not a thing.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
If I'm wearing something ridiculous like in Hellenia, I can't physically get down on the floor to do my job of checking seams or looking at petticoats or shoes. I mean, and if I'm wearing something super nice, like I'm going to get dirty judging because we spend a lot of time on the floor.
If you as a contest coordinator want your judges to wear something fancy for, say, the presentation during the contest itself, you just need to make sure you give them enough time to change in between.
Yes, make sure that you budget their time appropriately so that they're going to have time to, A, take care of themselves because they still need to be able to take breaks and eat and go to the bathroom and all that fun stuff. But then they're also going to need some downtime so that they can change into XYZ fancy costume. And depending on your location, they might need some place to change into big fancy costume. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. But ultimately, prejudging big fancy costume, not a thing. Don't do it.
Yeah.
If you are invited to judge, don't do it.
Yeah, if you can't budget the time to allow your judges to change, then you need to be understandable if they're not in something super fancy.
Yes, casual. If this is you and you are going to be judging, casual. Alternatively, you could just wear clothes. Like, you don't have to wear a costume to prejudging. It is not required.
That's typically what we do now.
Team shirts.
Yes, team shirts, the shit cosplayers say uniforms, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Comfort is going to be key for you as a judge so that you can focus all of your attention on your contestants, which is why you're there.
Well, and as a judge, particularly in terms of this complaint being from the audience, I don't feel like I need to be trying to wear something to prove my worth to all of you. Like the convention picked your judges for a reason.
Well, and especially in certain circuits, you'll see a lot of competitors graduate to judges. So the only people that need to be worried about the qualifications of the judges are going to be the competitors and the executives in charge of the contest. But if they graduated from within your particular contest region, there's a good chance that a lot of your competitors already know who they are and why they're there.
And we'll kind of talk about judging qualifications later, but if you're ever wondering what are the qualifications of the judges that will be at this contest, you can email the contest coordinator.
Gasp!
Because there are some conventions that don't announce their judges, but sometimes you can email the contest coordinator and find out more information.
And I know that sometimes people make mistakes, and I know that sometimes stuff happens, but I mean, we've talked about it in other judging episodes before. Like, most of the time, like, these people are on point. They're doing a job that they're supposed to be there to do. They're not there to impress everyone else.
Yeah, that's not your job as a judge. That's when you're a competitor. That's when you're impressing people.
Yeah.
As a judge, we're not impressing anyone anymore. We're just there to do a job. So one of the big things that we've seen as judges is when people come in and the first thing they say is what they did wrong.
Don't do that.
Don't panic over what your judges can't see because we're only going to know if you tell us.
Well, and honestly, judging appointments are short.
Yes.
So you only get anywhere from like 2 to 5 minutes per entry. Typically, the longest judging appointment we've ever had, I think, was 10 minutes, but that was for a very high tier contest. Yeah. So you're only looking at like 2 to 5 minutes total, depending on the particular contest. So what you tell the judges and what they are physically able to see during that time frame is the only thing they're going to know outside of your whip book if you bring one.
You are not obligated to tell us all the mistakes you made along the way.
No.
It's not necessary. If a judge asks you about something, then you may have to tell them about it.
Yes. And as a judge, I like to see when people, if they happen to have a mistake that gets highlighted for some reason, for them to explain things that they learned or ways that they fixed it. It might not be as bad as you think it is. Like, it might be a lot worse in your brain.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's not as bad as you think it is.
Well, and the other thing, too, that you have to remember is that you have been staring at this costume 100% from start to finish. So you know where every little minute insufficient detail is. So if your machine skipped a stitch or if something started unraveling, like, you know where all of that is. But as judges, we're not going to know unless we see it physically or if you tell us. That's it. Those are the only 2 ways for us to find out, is if you tell us or we find it by ourselves.
And if you know there is a thing, you can lead your judges away from the thing.
You could. There was a panel I went to at like ASIN in like the early mid 2000s, and that was one of the things that they talked about was, well, we really didn't want them to look over here, so we talked about this over here instead. And so they were looking at it, but they weren't focusing on the parts we didn't want them to see. I mean, don't lie and don't deliberately, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Don't lie to your judges, but if you have their focus attention elsewhere, they might not notice the thing that you don't want them to look at.
Was that sewing is half the battle?
It wasn't sewing is half the battle.
And their story about their Edward Elric coat?
Yes. With their unfinished seams on the inside. So they wrote alchemy notes on the inside of the sleeve. So when they looked at the inside of the sleeve, they were talking about the alchemy notes, hoping that they would look at the alchemy notes and not the seams.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
Some of my favorite way to cover up blemishes is with additional, like, bling and things of that nature.
You can't see where my hem skipped over like a millimeter if it's all covered in rhinestones.
That's right.
It's true. You can't see this hole that I burned in something if I cover it with applique.
I have that issue in a costume right now. I've got to find a way. I was able to stitch it so you can't see it, but you just never know. So obviously, like, if the bling won't make sense, don't do that. It's just an example of something you can use to draw the eye away from a mistake that maybe cannot be fixed more than it already has been.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want them to lift up your top skirt, it's perfectly acceptable to do, like, a tacking to keep that skirt flush with the skirt below it. That's normal. That's just a normal fashion thing.
Technically, that garment is finished if it has a lining, even if that lining is a separate piece.
Exactly.
Which is how most dress linings work.
Exactly. So if you don't want them to be able to lift it completely up, you can tack it down, which is typically what you're supposed to do anyway.
I can think of a costume that we have right now that, like, nobody can see the inside of it, but it's not as clean as I would like it to be on the inside. So whenever we get around to being together again and I can deal with it, like, I'm just gonna tack tape on the inside, like bias tape, because it will make it look clean and pretty. Because after being sewn and then taken apart and sewn and taken apart and fitted, I don't know how many times, it's just not beautiful as I would like it to be anymore.
Yeah, if you keep refitting a costume, eventually it just starts to kind of fall apart.
It happens.
It does. That's why I have elastic pants for, like, everything.
Toddler pants.
Toddler pants.
Elle has toddler pants. It's it's flush in the front and elastic in the back.
They're all that way. Even Hinoto's built that way right now.
I mean, if it works. If you have one part of your body that is constantly changing shape like that, like, that's super smart.
It's the way I have to roll. But no one's ever docked me for it because it's not wrong. I have had judges ask about it, and I've explained, hey, I have the ability to fluctuate 10 pounds, give or take. this is what I have to do to make sure my costume fits. And no one's ever had an issue with it. So
no. Yeah, sometimes they're like, I don't understand this. But then you explain the reasoning and they're like, wow, that's really smart. You're
but
like,
that's kind of
yep.
part of how in our previous judging episode, we discussed making alterations to your costumes for your body and that kind of a situation. One thing we didn't talk about in that episode, though, that we do want to talk about is how stage presence and performance can, in fact, affect your score. Now, we're not saying that if you don't do a full-out performance in a non-performance contest, your score is going to be affected. We mean more like you go to walk across the stage and your costume falls apart.
Or you go to walk across the stage and you can't really walk.
Because it does matter how you move and how your garment moves on the stage, because that isn't a testament to your overall craftsmanship. So it's not necessarily performance in the way that you think about it, but it's that physical moving presentation of your costume that the judges are going to pay attention to on stage that could put you over someone else if your scores are really close together.
Well, and we had this recently at a contest that a contest that I was helping to judge. And we had, again, you get your top picks. So, I think that depending on what the stage portion looks like, we're like, here, these people could be this or these people could be that. And that was one of the big things was this costume that ended up winning moved beautifully and the other one just didn't. It is what it is.
They couldn't move. They looked cool.
It looked really cool, but they couldn't move well. We'll put it that way.
So when judges say performance and presentation can affect your score, that's what we're looking at in a non-performance competition. How does your costume move? Does it stay together when you move? Because you would be shocked how many costumes they go to move and they fall apart. Are you able to actually walk across the stage? Because your giant monster costume might be impressive, but if you can't walk, that's a flaw in the craftsmanship. So you have to take that into consideration if you're doing a stage presentation of any kind. Can your costume move? And if I move, is it going to fall apart? Some contests won't care. Most judges will. And definitely if you are doing a performance, make sure that all your costume pieces are secure so you don't have a wig going flying or pieces of your costume flying somewhere, because we've also seen that.
Have experienced.
Yes.
Both. Well,
yes.
My wig didn't go flying, but it did slide. But I just held my head really still until the end once I felt it move. And luckily it didn't move too far out of place where people noticed, except for me. Panic. But you get that panic feeling like, oh my goodness, I thought I had enough bobby pins in this.
Well, and that's the whole performer thing of the show must go on. You just keep going.
You just keep going.
If you don't, just like in the judging room for craftsmanship, they're not going to know unless you tell them just keep going.
Just keep going. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't, they think they know this, but they don't really live it and breathe it the way that they should, is that contests are going to be 110% about who shows up.
Yes.
You are only compared to the people that are there present with you. So, you could win nothing at one con and go get best in category or best in show at another one. It's going to depend on who's judging and who else shows up to the contest.
And when we say who's judging, that can mean a large collection of different attributes. So sometimes it's the experience of your judging panel. Sometimes it's the preferences of your judging panel. It can kind of be a hodgepodge depending on what that particular judging panel is looking for in comparison to everyone else that is at the contest.
It can also depend on the particular contest rules. So some contests let their judges just kind of do their thing, and others provide a very, very specific rubric for how they expect you to judge by. So that could also be taken into account. Some judges are going to score on said rubric in different ways, depending on who else shows up to the contest.
So don't get yourself too down if you lose at one because your costume may just win something at a different contest.
And losing a contest doesn't mean your costume is bad.
Right.
Like, ultimately, there's only so many awards. Like, you could have an amazing costume that if this other person hadn't shown up today would have gotten, you know, best in category or best in show. But because they only have XYZ awards able to be given out, then that can't happen, unfortunately.
But yeah, because judging in the end, even when we're given rubrics, is still subjective. There's still going to be your judge's knowledge base. Preferences sometimes feed into it. It's just kind of, we're all human. I mean,
yes.
We're not robots. We're not judging robots.
We're not judging robots. What?
I will judge you with my robot program that has no biases and can be completely and totally objective.
But of course, cosplay is an art form, so that's not a thing.
Exactly. It doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't work. The other thing, too, that I see a lot of people, especially on the internet, is like, just because you didn't win something and you have a good costume doesn't mean your judges suck. And just because your friend didn't win something doesn't mean that the judges sucked. Like, we see things that you don't see. We get time with all of the contestants up close and personal, and their explanations and what we can see and touch on their costumes and their whip books and everything else. Just because you think that so-and-so should have won as a backseat judge in the audience doesn't mean that your judges suck if that person didn't win an award.
Basically, it's okay to want to win, but it's just not okay to be an asshole.
Yes.
Just don't do it, guys.
It's one of the things, too, like, if you're like, oh, well, so-and-so didn't win something, or so-and-so should have gotten this award. Well, at the same time, you're saying that, you know, your friend should have gotten XYZ. You're also putting down the other person that did win. So don't be an asshole. That's not a thing.
I think one of the other big misconceptions is it is okay to want to win, because if you're going to a contest and you're saying, oh, I'm just here for fun, I don't want to win, you are lying to yourself probably 90% of the time.
Even if, like, it's a very small percentage of, like, man, this is going to be awesome if, like, there's always that, like, little bit of hope. Like, even if you are 100% on board, you're like, I'm going to do this because I like to network with people. I love the green room experience. I like getting feedback from my judges. I like performing on stage. Even if that's, like, the majority of what you're there for, you can't tell me there's not, like, a tiny little part in the back of your brain that'll be like, man, I really hope that I get recognized by the judges today and take something home. Like, you can't tell me that's not there, at least on a small scale. Just a little bit.
I mean, we're not going to lie. We want to win even when we don't care that much about wanting to win. We still want to win. Like, you still want to do the thing because you're competing. That's why people compete in anything.
Yeah, it's a competition. Like, otherwise, we could just, like, if we wanted regular attention from attendees, like, we could just walk around the con. You'd see a lot more people that way, because you're stuck in a judging room with your judges and in a green room with your other competitors after spending all day getting ready because you don't want to get anything on your costume. And then you're stuck in the back, and then while the program's going on, and then you're exhausted from all this energy. So you don't actually see attendees, like, all day Saturday. Like, if I wanted attention from people that weren't in the audience and weren't judges, then I would spend time on the con floor and not in the green room. It's natural to want to win in a competition. That's why you entered a competition.
Yeah, it's okay. I get that, like, people don't want to be honest about wanting to win because it can make you seem high and mighty, almost. Like, oh, they're just doing this because they want to win. But we all know, deep down, that's what we want. Because it is also okay to choose a contest because of the prizes. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that we only do Colossal Con because it's a good time. They give $1,000 for craftsmanship and an additional $1,000 for performance. So yeah, Colossal Con's a good time, but I'm going to prioritize Colossal Con's competition because they give out $1,000.
Yep.
in cash
Holla
that we threw on Paragon after we won.
I mean,
Like,
you're not wrong.
There's a reason contests give out these prizes. It's because it entices competitors to compete.
Yes.
It is
Yes, it
okay
does.
to go to a contest to try to win awards. It is not okay to cheat at a contest because they are giving out nice prizes. Or
I've
at any
also had that
contest.
happen where we were judging
this
people
just happened to us.
that obviously cheated, and probably because of the prize package.
It's like,
Don't lie to your judges.
don't lie
do
to
it.
your judges. I mean, if you take anything away, it's don't lie to your judges. But like,
Because we know.
like it's okay. It's okay. We all do it. We all seek out contests that have prizes, because once you hit masters, the just winning the best in show, it's not you want to go up. You want to go up a little higher. You want there to be more stake. It's part of that like adrenaline rush of competing. You want the stakes to be higher.
Well, and honestly, if you go to a contest like Colossal Con versus just like a small local anime convention, you're going to have higher quality competition, which makes winning like almost more worth it, like more prestigious, I guess you could say.
For me, it's more satisfying to know that like this was a really hard competition and I still won something.
Yes. You were like, man. Well, and like the first year that we went to Colossal Con, like we knew that they were only giving out $500 at the time. But we'd heard this is a great con and that the contest is really good. And we watched some of the videos and we're like, yeah, let's go do this because this looks like a good time. Like we went going, man, I don't care what we get, but if we win anything, it's going to be awesome because it's Colossal Con.
And we did.
Yeah, we got a Judge's Choice
Award.
The dragon did.
For
Let's be
Pina.
honest. Pina.
Yeah, but we still joke with Lady Ava about that.
Yes.
Because when we all came back as Sailor Moon, the judges, which were the same judges from back then, were like, oh my god, you guys were Sword Art Online people.
We're like, we love you. We're like, we love you too.
You know, so yeah, Colossal Con, sure. We prioritize Colossal Con because they take performance seriously and they have quality judges. They give you like, it's an easy contest to do. It's not super stressful.
I love the fact that you get a rehearsal on stage with your tech crew.
The competition of contestants is quality, but they also happen to give out $1,000. So like,
it's a win-win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win-win. Win-win-win. I haven't actually found a contest higher quality than Colossal, but if you all know of one, send it our way because we are starting to look at traveling throughout the entire United States.
Well, and remember, we are like in backwater Midwest US, so
that's right.
we don't get out a lot. So us saying that Colossal Con is the most like quality competition like that we know of, that just shows that how few contests that we've actually been able to physically like go to in big cons.
Been time off and money has been the biggest.
Well, yeah.
But we're starting to branch out, so please let us know of other quality contests that are out there, because we would love to try in the next couple of years to go outside of the Midwest. Leave the Midwest. Go other places.
I would love to go other places, and
Very
especially
much like
if they like skits.
Yes.
Because we like skits. We like designing skits. We like performing skits. So bonus points if they like skits.
They do need to take skits because we probably won't go otherwise, let's be honest.
And that's true because there are some quality like walk-on only contests around here and we just don't go because we're like, but we want to do a skit.
We like performance is kind of our favorite part of the whole thing, so we don't like skipping that part.
Like I like crafting, but I do that at home. When I go out, I want to perform.
Yes, we need our 3 minutes of stage time.
I need my 3 minutes of theater that I get like maybe once or twice a year at the most.
Our tiny hint of theater, which we will also go to cons that do performance only contests.
Yes.
We just don't know a lot of cons that do that, so.
Yeah. But yes, don't be an asshole. So
No.
don't put down other competitors. Everybody goes and tries their best. It's a contest. Everybody wants to win. Everybody's going to put forth the best that they can do on this particular day. Don't be a dick to these other people. Don't put down your judges. You can disagree with your judges. That's fine. Like, we are all human. We all have our own backgrounds and we all have our own opinions. But don't put down your judges. Don't put down your contests. Contest coordinators have a really, really shit job. Like, let's be honest. Like,
we've had that job. It sucks.
I ran my first contest like back when I was a baby cosplayer in like the early 2000s, maybe like 03, 04. And it was a shit job then, and it's a shit job now. Like, you, as a coordinator, you do a ton of work for little to no recognition. So, coordinators out there, we appreciate you and all of the hard work that you do, and you keep doing what you're doing. If you have a problem with a contest and would like to give constructive feedback, just have a conversation with them. You can email them. You can talk to them if they have time in person, but be respectful and know that ultimately they're in charge and are going to do what they want to do. If you have a concern, you can talk to them about it. If you have a problem with a competitor or a problem with a judge or what have you, before, during, or after the contest, they are human. You can speak to them, but do it respectfully and don't be a dick.
I think that's probably one of the hardest parts about this. And we're going to go into some of this because I actually think I'm going to split this into two. One of the big things that we see, and I don't think that people talk about this that frequently. We kind of talked about it in the Regina George episode and in That's Mine as well. But the just behavior of contestants, like, it's kind of an issue, friends, if you're going to spread rumors and not be sportsmanship-like to your other contestants. It's not a good look. If you walk into that judging room acting like you've already won the awards, it is going to give a negative impression of you to the judging panel.
And your peers.
Because if you're strutting around like you own the place in the green room, all your peers are going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to deal with this person.
Yeah, nobody wants to deal with you if you are, like, super full of yourself.
We've had multiple instances where we've had people walk right into our judging room like they already knew they were going to win the entire contest. You can tell because they're half-assing their presentation to us. They're going, oh, look at this impressive thing I did here and this, and oh, it's just, you're never going to see anything that looks quite like this, which we've had people say to us before.
Yep.
And you just know by their air that they think they've already won this contest. Now, I can't technically hold that against them, but it's going to leave a sour taste in my mouth.
As much as we will consciously try to ignore that, we are human, and I cannot guarantee that every judge will not have a subconscious bias against that particular attitude.
Well, exactly, because sportsmanship is important.
And some cons, being unsportsmanlike can actually get you DQ'd.
That is very true. There
and
are
DQ
quite a
does
lot
not
of
mean
cons.
Dairy Queen. You do not get ice cream.
You're not going to get Dairy Queen. Although that would be sweet. Can we get Dairy Queen?
Can we get
That'd
Dairy
be a
Queen?
disaster. Can you imagine if you got Dairy Queen in the green room?
Oh, God.
How much melted ice cream and like sugar and chocolate and all sorts of shit would be everywhere.
Maybe that's the consolation prize for people that get DQ'd, is that they get DQ. So they get kicked out of the green room, but here's your compensatory ice cream.
Well, and we've had to remove people for these reasons before. Like,
yes.
And many of our friends have had to remove people for reasons of just absolute ridiculousness, of like not only bashing other competitors, but bashing the people they're competing with because they lost.
I've also seen bullying take place before cons.
Oh, yeah. Which we talked about in Regina George a little bit.
We've experienced it a little bit, but we know people. I know people that legit have decided not to go to cons because their bully was going to be there. So
it's not a good look because, as we've talked about before, you are not entitled to win anything.
No. It doesn't matter if you spent thousands of dollars on your working Transformer costume.
That was the best one. That was Crown, wasn't it?
I think it was MTAC.
Is it MTAC?
I could be mistaken.
There was a contest that we cannot remember which one it was, but someone spent like, it was an absurd amount of money.
It was like $5,000 to $10,000, I think.
On like a working Bumblebee costume, and was mad that they lost, but they didn't make the costume.
Well, and I actually think that this particular person has gone to multiple conventions and complained about the same thing. Because now that you say that, I think it originated possibly at MTAC or somewhere in that region. And I do believe it was one of the earlier years of C2E2's contest.
Yeah, it was like Crown year one. Because they were mad that the Big Daddy
won that year.
Because that was still back when you could have more than one person create the costume.
Yes.
For Crown. Like, and what do we remember this guy for? Being an asshole.
Being an asshole.
So sure, you can behave like this if you want to be remembered as the asshole that competes at cons.
Yep.
I mean, because that's what everybody's going to get to know you for, because we will talk about, at this point, probably in part 2, because this episode got a lot longer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Like infamy.
About
it's not a good
the
look.
inner workings of the judging community as a whole, because we all know each other.
Yeah.
Surprise. But it's like, yeah, you can want to win. Don't be an asshole. Sportsmanship is important. It's not going to help you if you're constantly trying to stop people from competing at your convention that you think belongs to you,
which we covered in a previous episode.
We did.
Like you don't own a particular competition circuit,
but like
people do not have to pay their dues to come to your con and win an award. Like the best costume is the best costume, regardless of if that competitor has been there once or 100 times.
I remember a friend telling me a story about a gal who saw different people in the green room and was so concerned she wasn't going to win that she started spreading rumors to the staff about those people cheating to try to get them knocked out.
Don't do
remove
that.
them from competition from them.
That's an asshole
move. And this
move.
wasn't even a big convention. This was like a smaller convention.
Don't do it.
Like, what are you gaining? Which we will do a whole episode on cheating. But, like, seriously? Peeps?
Now you're the town gossip monger.
Yes. like,
and a liar.
You want to win? That's cool. Just don't be an asshole about it.
All right, guys. Well, we've been talking for a long time and so far have a ton of stuff left to cover. So we're going to go ahead and close this up for today and definitely get you in part 2. So
yes. So we will have a part 2 of The Secret Door for you to talk about some additional judging, particularly in relationship to time and money, the interactions of judges, and just the quality of judges in general.
It's true. So again, because you obviously forgot in the last 40 minutes or so, I'm Ash.
I'm Elle.
We are Lavi Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say. You've been listening to Shit Cosplayers Say, an LVC production. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast SCS. Our website is lavicosplay.com. Have a fun, crazy con or cosplay-related story, absurd cosplay question, or just something in general to share with us? Email us at podcastscs@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should.